May the blessings of God be upon you. It's a great pleasure to welcome you all in the Sharjah Singapore Investment Webinar organized here by the Sharjah FDI Office, Invest in Sharjah, headed by His Excellency Mohammed Al-Musharraf, in partnership with the Singapore Business Council, headed with our friend Mr. Harbinder Singh, the President of the Singapore Business Council. We are here today to celebrate the strength of the business and culture relations between the United Arab Emirates and Singapore, and begin a new chapter of boosting cooperation in trade, economic activities, and other areas of mutual interest. As the investment arm of the government of Sharjah, Shuruq is confident that our discussions today will fuel growth in both scope and depth through cooperation across multiple sectors. As always, Shuruq remains committed to your growth and profitability in Sharjah business-friendly landscape. What we have seen advancing UAE-Singapore relationship in the past. Since 1985, the UAE and Singapore have enjoyed diplomatic relations. The UAE hosts the largest Singaporean community in the region. Our nation shares values of coexistence and tolerance between people of all culture, backgrounds, and have pioneered unique development models, propelling themselves to the forefront of the modern age. On the commercial side, the United Arab Emirates, the UAE is Singapore's 16th largest trade partner globally, as well as it's the largest trading partner in the Middle East, with bilateral trade amounting to almost 18.1 billion in 2019. The volume of non-oil trade exchange between the two countries recorded almost $5 billion in 2019, achieving a growth of almost 28.2% over the previous year, while the total non-oil trade for the first half of 2020 was about $1.7 billion. Trade and investment cooperation between the two countries encompass diversified fields such as infrastructure, real estate, communications, transportations, water treatment, smart cities, clean energies, digital and IT, education, and health. A joint declaration on comprehensive partnership was signed by the two countries in the early 2019, covers trade and investment, defense, security, and sustainable development. When we go deep between Sharjah and Singapore, there are two destinations that are driving growth. With almost 118 Singaporean companies in Sharjah, 27 of them sits in Sharjah, 91 of them are actually in specialized free zones within the Emirate. The total exports between Sharjah and Singapore stood to almost 370 million dirhams. And we are both driving economic growth with a vision of transforming our cities to become smarter, but also sustainable and livable. Both are also destinations whose favorable trade policies are attracting global companies. In addition, connectivity to growing markets of Asia and neighboring regions further makes Sharjah and Singapore a preferred FDI locations. One would ask, why Sharjah? Over the years, Sharjah has a strong non-oil economy and specialized free zones have attracted investment in various sectors. So what are the competitive advantages of Sharjah and what Sharjah can offer? A stable, business-friendly economy, low operating costs, and several incentives. The major sectors of the UAE's economy is, as you know, oil and petrochemicals, logistics, tourism, food and beverage, technology. All will continue to bring investments to Sharjah and to the United Arab Emirates in general. Our post-COVID strategy to drive investments are actually focused more onto health, agri-tech, IoT, renewable energy, smart city solutions, sustainable construction. That has elevated Sharjah's position as the region's preferred investment destination. With Sharjah's expansion into such high potential sector, Singaporean investors have several new businesses and investment opportunities to engage with. On the other hand, to be part of the Emirates' rapid growing knowledge economy and build the capabilities of future generations, the options are endless. To my friends and business associates from Singapore, I would like to say Sharjah is open for business. Shuruq is open for new partnership. In conclusion, I hope that today's discussion will be a beginning of an exciting new chapter of Sharjah Singaporean economic relations. When the Sharjah government authorities present here today talk about their range of high quality services, I'm certain it will give you several ideas about how we can expand the horizons of cooperation and joint action between us. So I look forward for more interactions and fruitful business dealings with all in the coming periods. And thank you all. I would like to also take this opportunity to congratulate the women for the Women's Day today, the International Women's Day. Unfortunately, we don't have women in this session, but hopefully we'll have them in the next sessions. I would like to thank Mr. Harbinder Singh, the President of Singapore Business Council, to be one of the speakers of today's session. I would like to especially thank His Excellency Dr. Khalid Amr Al-Midfa, the Chairman of the Sharjah Media City Shams, which is one of the most prominent and fast-growing free zones in Sharjah. And my colleague, my dear colleague, His Excellency Muhammad Al-Musharraq, CEO of Sharjah FDI, for making keep on making us busy with those sessions that are happening every now and then with different business councils. And also our colleague, Mr. Patrick Poon, the Cargo Manager, Middle East and Africa and Singapore Airline Limited. So thank you. I will give the floor now to Mr. Harbinder Singh to hear from him as the President of the Singapore Business Council. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency Marwan Al-Sakal. Very interesting, very insightful speech. A lot of information provided about Sharjah. In fact, I probably now had to redo my speech because you raised a lot of good points which I have missed out also, right? Good afternoon, distinguished guests, panelists, to our inaugural Singapore Sharjah Investment Forum. What I would probably like to just add to Marwan's opening speech, right? A little bit of extra details about Sharjah, right? It is the only emirate that overlooks, right, the whole of UAE, right? Okay, in terms of it's on one side the Persian Gulf to the west, and the Gulf of Oman to the east. It's really it's pretty larger in terms of its size. It's won numerous awards, right? Global awards, cultural capital of the UAE, Islamic cultural capital, UNESCO World Book Capital, WHO Healthy City. It's a fantastic place for ecotourism now. Entrepreneurs picked up quite a bit in Sharjah through entities like Shira, for example. And I'm speaking not just as the president of the Singapore Business Council, I'm speaking as someone who's worked and lived here in Sharjah for 3 years, right? Within the emirate itself. Okay, it's an amazing emirate, understated. I'm hoping that through this particular conference today, right, we will attract more Singaporean companies, more Singaporean individuals, right, to actually come to live in Sharjah, to work in Sharjah, and to view Sharjah as being a long-term home for them, right? Now, without further ado, I would like to quickly run through an introduction of our panelists. We have first His Excellency Dr. Khalid Omar Al-Midfa, who is Executive Chairman for Sharjah. Sorry, okay. I think it's a bit of a mistake that's happened to the things that there. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. So, looking at the Chairman of Sharjah Media City Shams, okay, since February 2017, Dr. Khalid is focused on raising Sharjah's profile at the hub for media excellence and production. He previously led the modernization and transformation of Sharjah television and radio between 2011 and 2017 as General Manager. He combines his passion for media with deep technical understanding of networks, developed through his multiple degrees in electronic and telecommunication engineering, first from Khalifa University and later from the Centre of Telecommunication Research, Bristol University, United Kingdom. Dr. Al-Midfa holds a PhD in telecommunications engineering. He studied internationally because he strongly believes exploring best practices around the world and bringing knowledge back to Sharjah. He still travels regularly with his team to gather the latest insights on media, entrepreneurship, and business modeling. Dr. Al-Midfa plays an active and influential role within local community. He's one of the founders of the Sharjah Tadbir Forum and a member of the Sharjah Emirate Consultative Council. He's also worked as assistant professor in telecommunication engineering in Khalifa University. We also have Mohammed Juma Al-Mushraq, who is the CEO of the Sharjah FDI office. The FDI office, right, is the Investment Promotions Office operating under the Sharjah Investment and Development Authority, Shuruk. Mohammed has worked for Sharjah Chamber and Commerce Industry for 7 years and taken numerous posts in International Affairs Department. He joined Shuruk in 2012, the head of investment promotion, and in September 2016, he was later promoted to director of Sharjah FDI office, Invest in Sharjah, before getting promoted to CEO of Invest in Sharjah in 2018. Aside from his role as CEO of Invest in Sharjah, he's also the Regional Director of WAIPI Steering Committee for the MENA region and a member of the Steering Committee since 2019. He's also a board member of the Sharjah Investor Services Center, SAID, and a member of the Board of Trustees at Pantheon's Assas University, Paris. Mohammed holds a master's degree in International Business Management from the Australian University of Wollongong in Dubai, a bachelor's degree in International Relations from the American University Sharjah. He's graduated from Executive Authentic Leadership Development at the Harvard Business School in the US, Executive Leadership Program at Stanford University Graduate School of Business in the US, and Executive Leadership School in the UK. Last but not least, to represent from the Singaporean perspective, we have Patrick Poon, who is the Cargo Manager of Singapore Airlines. Mr. Patrick Poon is the Cargo Manager responsible for Middle East and Africa air freight services, as well as overseeing freighter operations in Sharjah, Johannesburg, and Nairobi. He's currently based in UAE. Prior to his stint as Cargo Manager, he held various positions at the Head Office and Regional Office of Southeast Asia, West Asia, and Africa in Singapore Airlines. Mr. Patrick Poon holds a bachelor's degree in bioengineering from Nanyang Technological University in Singapore. Let me just start first with Dr. Khalid. If you could please provide a brief about the Sharjah Media City, Shams, and how it's different from other free zones.
Yes, thank you very much for the introduction and for the invitation actually to speak today to this in this webinar. Yes, I am heading Sharjah Media City, which is a digitally born free zone authority launched in 2017. And the intention for Shams, and we actually call Sharjah Media City for short, we call it Shams, which translates to the sun. The intention of Shams is to become a leading media free zone in the region. So the vision is to act as a catalyst for creative and media businesses to grow, thrive, and lend from Shams, actually to lend a helping hand to the entrepreneurs. So the Shams consists of an infrastructure to emulate the international standards and to provide its investors and entrepreneurs with all the resources that they require to generate a high quality content and end products. So we curate our services to create a cost-effective solutions for the SMEs and to establish companies and to allow freelancers that to work and to help all of these to easily embark on their entrepreneurial journey. So under Shams, businesses over the past 4 years actually have utilized the opportunity to choose a wide range of business activities. And being a free zone, we are licensing businesses, and we have 100 or over 120 business activities to be licensed, and we provide startups with opportunities to enter into the business industry seamlessly and efficiently. So how it is different than free zones? We actually, since inception, started the process of getting the license process be digitized, and hence we called ourselves actually a digitally born free zone. And that's actually the fast pace of licensing and allowing business owners, entrepreneurs, and the likes to get their needs of licenses as fast as possible. This is on the licensing aspect. On our media and creativity endeavors, we actually created a lot of initiatives that we can speak about during the course of this webinar. And for those, actually, the intention was to create and to allow for an ecosystem to start from the premise of Sharjah Media City, and to allow for those people who establish their businesses here to get engaged with us, to meet their peers and work together with us to create this high quality content and solutions, which most of the time is digitally based, and in that we were looking for, and still are looking for, the entrepreneurs, for even the well-established companies, to partner with them and deliver these high quality contents as we mentioned, plus to train the entrepreneurs that we have started up with, to allow them to gain more knowledge and get a helping hand for them to reach success in a faster and more efficient pace, way and pace, and be competitive within the region here, within the Emirate of Sharjah and the region at large, and to allow the more established companies elsewhere in the globe to have a good access to the local market within the country of UAE, and as well as to the region around UAE. So this is in a nutshell about Shams and how Shams is different than other free zones.
Okay, right, thank you. Quite interesting, right? Are there any barriers entrepreneurs face when starting in the business UAE, and how does Shams help to overcome them? I think you have briefly mentioned one point about how much time, right, it takes to set up a company. It's pretty fast, right? Maybe some specific timelines that will help. Second thing would be, I believe, is 100% foreign ownership is allowed, right, in Shams, right?
That's right. Actually, the free zone concept is an economic specialized zone, and it is actually within this area business owners are allowed to own 100% of their companies. Yes, the 100% foreign ownership is permitted, and giving the owners a full control and autonomy over the company or the branch of the company, which are based within those free zones. And Sharjah Media City is one of the specialized free zones. And companies can have limited liabilities, and in addition, they can gain 100% repatriation of capital and profits with 0% corporate or personal income tax, which actually is there, or not yet there here in UAE, but it is spoken about. So free zones are going to represent and we're actually presenting a good starting place for foreign companies, and will still continue to be attractive. For that reason, related to the corporate or personal income tax whenever they are adopted. So shareholders usually within the setup and the legal framework that we have established in Sharjah Media City, shareholders are not required to be physically present in the country, and in order for them to incorporate the new companies. Moreover, they will be having and are having a full autonomy on opening the companies, and any other employees can be hired within the country for their company. So we actually have received and still receiving and serving a lot of the requirements for establishing companies, and those which come to us actually from international companies. So why should, for example, someone would ask, why should Singapore expand its media industry to Sharjah? So like Sharjah and the UAE, actually Singapore made its name actually, and I have visited previously Singapore to view and to learn actually from the methods that been adopted in the specialized free zones. And we visited a few actually of the studios there, and we actually got to know more about the endeavors some of the media entities that have taken within Singapore. So we believe that we have good synergies for those companies to attract and to work in covering a wide region within the Middle East, from Sharjah and from Sharjah Media City in more focused form.
Cool, thank you. So, Your Excellency Mohammed, if I may just turn to you now, in your capacity as CEO of Sharjah FDI. Can you please tell us more about the Invest in Sharjah office and the role that it has in driving the economy of the Emirate of Sharjah?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Singh. First of all, I would like to thank you as the Singapore Business Council for organizing this event with us today for the Singaporean companies to know more about Sharjah. Maybe allow me first to start with facts and figures about Sharjah's economy in general, and then maybe I can talk more about Sharjah FDI office. So Sharjah is the third largest emirate in the UAE with a population of around 1.2 million. We have a GDP of around 29 billion US dollars in 2019. Sharjah has 3 seaports, 1 international airport, and we are proud today to see one of our clients actually at Sharjah International Airport participating here with us, which is the Singapore Cargo Company. We definitely have 6 different free zones within the Emirate of Sharjah. One of them is Sharjah Media City Shams, which we are very proud of to be one of the fastest growing free zones, not only in Sharjah, but in the UAE. Sharjah attracted around $220 million of FDI in 2020, despite the pandemic actually in the beginning, and then maybe after the pandemic, we were able to attract some investments from abroad. Talking about the Singaporean companies that we have in the Emirate of Sharjah, we have more than 100 Singaporean companies registered in Sharjah. 27 of them are registered in the mainland, which means that they have some local partners. And then we have 91 companies registered in the different 6 of different Sharjah free zones. So this is a good number, I think. A good number of Singaporean companies that we have in Sharjah, and in the near future, we hope that to see this number increasing by at least 15%. This is a goal that we are putting for ourselves, actually. So going back to Sharjah FDI office, we are the investment promotion agency of the Emirate of Sharjah. We help companies to establish in Sharjah, to open in Sharjah. We help them with providing them with the right information, with the consultancy on which free zone they have to be in, depend on the sector they are operating on, or sometimes if their focus is on the local market, we always advise them and support them in opening actually in the mainland. So recently we have also opened Sharjah Investor Services Center, which in short we call Saeed, and Saeed is happy in Arabic. So we make sure that all investors are doing business and investing happily in the Emirate of Sharjah. This is a one-stop shop. We have the services of all government departments, from Sharjah Economic Development Department to Sharjah Chamber of Commerce to Sharjah Municipality to Sharjah Electricity, Water and Gas Authority. Then we also have some services from different federal authorities like the Identity and Citizenship Authority. And then we have also the a counter for the Ministry of Justice, or the legal part of doing business in the UAE through the notary public. So this is a one-stop shop. The facility is very nice. I mean, we also introduced a new concept where the investor come, there are no tokens, no counters. The investor just sit, and then someone from the Saeed team come and take all the paper, and behind in the back offices we actually finalize all the paperwork, despite with how many entities this investor is dealing. He will only sit and face one employee only, and we take of the back end process from A to Z, whether it's with local authorities or with federal authorities. We also have Shams license at Saeed, so whoever is interested in opening in Shams can also process his trade license process from Saeed Center. So this is in a nutshell what we do, and we used actually to promote Sharjah internationally a lot through participating in different exhibitions and conferences. We used to go to Singapore at least once or twice a year. Now we are doing these virtual events, but hopefully when airports will open again, we will definitely have a roadshow in Singapore in collaboration with Singapore Business Council.
Inshallah. One thing, Muhammad, I've seen the Saeed Center, right? And you will not believe it. It's amazing, right? So you walk in there, beautifully set up, very professional. Okay, I've never seen any business center ever, ever in the UAE, like what I've seen in Saeed. It's just amazing, game changer.
Thank you. Thank you.
Patrick, if I may turn to you, COVID-19 presents enormous challenges across many industries. How was your experience being based in Sharjah during this period?
Thank you, thank you, Mr. Singh, and thank you and good afternoon to Your Excellencies. Thank you for inviting me onto this meeting and this webinar. Okay, so for COVID-19, it certainly caused a lot of grief, not only in terms of the economic costs, but of the various operational challenges that we face as well. So I mean, in terms of the operational challenges, these are some of these, such as COVID-19 testing requirements that are imposed by the various governments around the world, and or even such as the closing of hotels for the purpose of our crew layover. All of these issues has a very detrimental effect that actually prevents us from operating flights normally. But being based in Sharjah during this period and having very understanding partners in the Airport Authority as well as the Department of Civil Aviation. The support they have given to us throughout this period has actually allowed us to continue operating our flights without any disruption during this period. So for example, they actually came out with a customized solution and a process that caters to all the airlines' requirements for the safe transit and layover of crew in Sharjah. So without their support, it would have been very challenging for us to maintain our flight frequencies, and that would definitely have also contributed to the shock in the supply chains that is across the world that was actually acutely seen during the start of the pandemic, sometime between April to July. So having said, I'm very happy with the support and the flexibility shown by the relevant government authorities to help us develop solutions to overcome these operational challenges that we face during this very challenging period in all our lives, actually. So
Okay.
I feel that, yeah, sorry.
Go ahead, please.
So, okay, I mean, this support that is shown by the authorities, I believe would also be extended to the other government agencies in Sharjah. So for any potential investors coming into Sharjah for investments as well.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, Pachi, for your insight. It's always good to always hear a Singaporean company, especially a well-established global Singaporean company like Singapore Airlines, giving its first-hand account of experience in Sharjah, especially during a very critical time during COVID, right? Seeing firsthand the response of the government and how they're able to provide support. Right? That's really important. Dr. Khalid, if I may just ask, you were talking earlier about the barriers that entrepreneurs face, right, when starting the businesses, and you gave some examples of how Shams can help them overcome. One typical problem that most companies sometimes have is starting up bank accounts over here. So you can have a company license, but bank account becomes an issue. Okay, is Shams has Shams going to tie up with any banks, or can you provide any assistance to help these companies who are starting up open bank accounts?
Yes, thank you very much. This is very important question actually that we usually get actually from the entrepreneurs and the SMEs and the people who want to establish their businesses. Sure, without a bank account, it's difficult to continue operating. And we realized that this hurdle actually for the companies, for the entrepreneurs, and definitely the banking sector have their own standards, and they're trying to handle different requirements of their own. So for that purpose, actually, yes, we did tie up with a few of the local banks here in Sharjah, and we're continuously meeting with them to allow their process to be incorporated within the setup of Shams licensing the companies. We try to get as much as possible of information in order to fulfill the KYC requirement that the banks and the banking sector have in their requirements to open new bank accounts. So we have a good tie-up actually with Sharjah Islamic Bank. We have also announced tie-up with Mashriq Bank and RAK Bank. So yes, we do have these good relations that we nurture. We try to meet regularly with these banks and try to adapt and adopt every possible requirement into the establishing of the companies within Shams.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Khalid. Mohammed, you spoke about Sharjah, being an attractive destination, right? Do you have any particular sectors that are forecasted to have promising FDI growth?
Yes, actually, we have recently finished our new strategy for the sectors that we are going to focus on. Definitely, I mean, the world is changing post-COVID. COVID has changed so many things. So we came back and we said we have to re-strategize our focus actually. So currently we are focusing on 8 different sectors. And this is the first webinar where we actually share our new focus sectors. We are focusing on health and well-being. Definitely with COVID, I mean, there are a lot of new opportunities that have came up, especially with the biotech. People are focusing more on healthcare and healthcare services. We are focusing on mobility and logistics, and this is because of the opportunity that Sharjah has actually being the base for such airlines like Singapore Airlines, for example, having the 3 different ports. And because of other sectors, we intend to focus on actually like the agro-food technology, for example. So in order for us to focus on these technologies or on these sectors, we have to have the right ecosystem for logistics. So cold facilities, for example, is something that we are going to focus on a lot. And I mean, this is an open discussion. We would like to have an open discussion with Singapore Cargo also on this, on how we can enhance the logistics in the Emirate for cold facilities actually. Then we are focusing definitely on culture, media, and tourism. I think His Excellency Dr. Khalid touched upon this. In terms of tourism, the focus is now more on ecotourism and lodges. You know, people don't want to stay in cities anymore. They want to go to like remote areas and enjoy the kind of tourism where they are away from crowded areas. So through Shuruq also, we have introduced a couple of eco tourism projects, and some of them are coming very soon, like the Moon Lodge, for example, in Mleha. Then we are focusing on green technology, having BIA as one of the leading companies in the region and in the UAE with waste management and all of this. Human capital and innovation is something that we are also going to focus on, especially with the launch of Sharjah Innovation and Technology Park recently. This is a sector that we will focus on a lot going forward. Advanced manufacturing is something that we are also keen to focus on. Sharjah has the right ecosystem, the right infrastructure for manufacturing. We are looking forward to use whatever we have from knowledge, from ecosystem, from infrastructure to move to advanced manufacturing, like manufacturing of drones and robotics and all of this. Last but not least is the digitally enabled services with data centers, with the outsource that is happening all around the world today. And I mean, the pandemic has proved that digital enabled services sector, with all the outsource that is happening and people not being able to travel actually, we found that there is a huge potential in Sharjah for such sector and all the sectors in general. I mean, soon we are going to launch this report to the public, and we are going to have also an investment promotion strategy on how to attract companies in this sector. And definitely Singapore is one of the countries, sorry, that will be included in our strategy to attract companies from.
Right. Thank you, Mohammed. So just to add to that, I think look at Sharjah. It has a track record actually of pioneering a lot of new ventures, right? Air Arabia was basically the first airline within the region. BIA, where I worked for 3 years. Okay, it's amazing. Today, it is a market leader in the region. No one can come close to it. You have a hub, American University of Sharjah, in terms of an educational hub, which is really important. This is the ability to grow is also dependent on the ability to have a strong knowledge base, right, and an educational and a research institute backing it. And this is where Sharjah has got also a huge advantage over there. Patrick, back to you. How do you see Singapore Airlines being able to facilitate any potential Singaporean companies looking to invest in Sharjah, to export shipments to the Far East, for example?
Thank you, Mr. Singh, for this question. So I'd like to take this this opportunity to do a short introduction of Singapore Airlines. So Singapore Airlines, we've been operating at Sharjah for over more than 10 years. And we have a very good network operating into the Far East. So with almost daily 747 freighter flights operating out of Sharjah going into Singapore. So, and then from out of Singapore, we have good connections going into the North Asia destinations such as China, Korea, and Japan. And then we also fly into good connections with Australia, New Zealand, and as well as into the Southeast Asian destinations such as Malaysia, Brunei, Thailand, and of course, Singapore itself. So as Mr. Muhammad mentioned earlier about the focus on logistics, pharmaceuticals, and so on. So I mean, we are the first airline in the Asian Pacific region to actually be awarded the IATA CEIV Pharma certification, and also being the first airline in Southeast Asia to be awarded the IATA CEIV Fresh certification as well. So what this means is that we actually have the capability to assist companies moving different commodities which require special handling, such as pharmaceutical products, which will require temperature control, or general cargo with special loading requirements on our freighters. And furthermore, I think this is complemented by Sharjah itself, whereby the infrastructure is available for companies to do consolidation and conduct export operations through a dedicated economic zone such as the Sharjah Airport Free Zone, which is located near the airport. So as an example, we have been working closely with some of these companies that are actually based in the free zone. And we have been moving shipments with them to the Far East as well across the many years. So we find this symbiotic relationship between the free zone as well as the airport to be very fruitful for us and our customers' business.
Okay, thank you, Patrick. If there's any, maybe we could now turn to any questions from the audience. Rajesh? I see there's a hand marked up there. Asking any queries. Would you? Yes, Richard. Okay. Okay. All right. Cool. Okay, so I think what I've understood now from the feedback is that actually your a lot of the discussions have actually addressed a lot of the points that quite a number of the panelists were planning to ask. Is there anything that Marwan, Dr. Khalid, Muhammad, you want to maybe add insight to the discussion that we may have missed out on?
I think one of the things that we would like to add here is that we would like to say that we have a lot of opportunities in the agri-tech that we would like to encourage Singaporean investors to look at this opportunity to join hands with the current investor that we have here in Sharjah. Another sector that we are very keen to look at is technology-based in healthcare industry. This is another sector that we are very keen to encourage Singaporean technology partners to come and to look at those sectors. We also can say that we have a very good experience with the hospitality when it comes to dealing with a Singaporean company. We have one of the most luxurious resorts in the United Arab Emirates in Sharjah that is managed by GHM, the global hotel management brand name is the Chedi. The Chedi Al Bayt Hotel is one of the most sophisticated luxury boutique hotels in the region. So we're very proud with this association with a Singaporean partner, and we believe that hospitality from Singapore has a different feel and touch.
There's a question that's come in by one of the speakers asking about the PPP regulations in Sharjah. Maybe Marwan, maybe you want to talk about that, maybe followed by Dr. Khalid and then maybe by Mohammed.
Yes, sure. Mr. Marwan, maybe you can add something on this, the PPP model.
We have different good examples of doing the Ppp projects. One of them is the waste to energy project that is headed by Bia and Master, creating from waste we create energy. That's a 30-year agreement. We have another PPP project that the government of Sharjah has done it through Sharjah Electricity and Water and Gas Authority with General Electric. Another one that we have done in Shuruq, which is a PPP with B6, in order to do sewage treatment plants, waste and basically recycling water to renewable, to basically getting RO water. So we are open for a 30-year, 50-year agreement of Ppp project, and I would say maybe Sharjah is one of the Emirates that have opened even its logistic center with Gulf Tainer managing its seaports for the past 50 or so years. So we have a very good example of Ppp projects in the United Arab Emirates and especially in Sharjah.
Okay, awesome.
For us in Sharjah Media City also, we look forward actually for the developed companies in many different fields to help and support run the different projects that we are looking for. In Sharjah Media City, we have 2 million square meters to be developed. And definitely there are a lot of opportunities here for us, starting from the master planning or building the specialized studios or going for the different office towers or residential buildings and the specialized projects in relation to the media and creativity sector. And to give an example, actually here we have established a media arm, actually, which is Shams Media Services. Here, which is a subsidiary of Shams, we entered into a strategic partnership with a well-established company called Omnis Media, and through that partnership we launched together actually a platform for influencers, social media and other media influencers. And this actually platform is, we can consider it as a PPP actually model, that we wanted to utilize their abilities and their experience in marketing and in actually the reach out that those influencers who would be registering into this platform. And this platform is available actually on an international level, not only for locally. So those people can be used and to engage them in terms of marketing and promotional campaign needs. So the matter for us is we will not be starting our different operations from scratch. We actually would be utilizing the experience of the companies, i.e. partners, in order to avail some of the services that we are strategically planning to avail and to provide to our clients in Shams. And this is, I'm using here as an example, and I'm sure what Mr. Marwan and Mr. Muhammad al-Musharraf have mentioned in their individual speeches, they do have also other specialized areas that they're, and Sharjah Emirate itself actually is interested in acquiring and getting the interest of the Singaporean investors.
If I may add on this, I mean the regulations in Sharjah are so welcoming for the PPP model. Besides the projects that Mr. Marwan have mentioned and Dr. Khalid have mentioned, we at Invest in Sharjah have another story to tell about PPP, which is Saeed Center actually, where we have partnered with one of the private companies and operating and doing the operations actually of Saeed Center, especially at the back end. I mean, Sharjah Asset Management also have very good examples when it comes to PPP models. And there are a lot of opportunities. I mean, especially with what's happening all around the UAE and Sharjah with the outsourcing, I think there are so many opportunities for the private sector to partner up with the government.
Right. Okay, thanks. Thank you, Mohammed. I want to just quickly ask one question. I see we have another query coming in about this any plan for street lighting project on a PPP basis. I believe this is from Kasivi, who I believe work for Singapore Technologies. Maybe this may be a lengthy discussion. I think maybe I'm not sure whether Marwan, you want to just suggest who we can talk to on this query on street lighting?
So street lighting would be, if it's general for Sharjah, then it will be SIWA, Sharjah Electricity and Water and Gas Authority. But if it's on a private project, let's say, for example, we are developing Sharjah Sustainable City. So there they have street lighting, then you will be dealing with the Sharjah Sustainable City. If it's in towards, for example, you want to do it in the media city Shams, you will talk to Dr. Khalid then, because it's within their jurisdiction. So it depends how big the project, but if it's general roads, then it will be SIWA will be the right entity. But today in Sharjah, we have Shams is a free zone by itself. You have Hamriya as a free zone by itself. You have Sharjah Airport International Free Zone. They have their own jurisdiction. Then you have huge projects, let's say like Sharjah Sustainable City or Mariam Island. In all the cases, Muhammad and his team can guide you in all of the process on which and the magnitude of each project and the type of deal that we would like to do. SIWA and the previous have done it with, I believe, with Philips to transform all of the light, most of the lights in Sharjah roads towards LED lights. And it was a good move. However, there are many projects that are still waiting for those PPP when it comes to lighting and different infrastructure projects.
Okay. Thank you, Marwan.
I have sent my email on the chat, so if there are any queries after the event, I will be happy to answer them through email.
Awesome. Okay, thanks, Mohammed. Okay, so we now have a very interesting query. Hawa Hanjari, a registered woman entrepreneur, portfolio management services. She's won 4 national awards, 2 international awards in business and social leadership. Well done. We're very happy for you. Except I'm sorry that, it doesn't appear there are any women here today, but actually, right, I can tell you for a fact that we all have women in major roles in all the organizations, whether it's Shuruk, Invest in Sharjah, even the SBC. We have Trixie Low, who runs our women's VP for our women in business and professionals wing, right? The question is it possible to start a branch of my business in Sharjah? If yes, which license should I apply? I think, Dr. Khalid, this is for you.
The short answer is yes. Definitely, we will be welcoming such esteemed companies, and definitely for other, just to generalize the answer, the Saeed Center that Mr. Muhammad Al-Musharraf have mentioned will be a good start actually, and a good reception for the different queries of establishing and looking for the best option the companies might be having or might be needing to have a clear answer for those. So yes, in short, yes, we will be welcoming any company to come, and if the industry that they're working on is actually related to media and creativity, and the investor would be finding the appropriate description for that activity within our licensed activities, definitely we will be welcoming those. And for those other ones which are going, for example, to be more heavy industry, the things that we might not be having as part of Sharjah Media City, Saeed Center will be a good start actually to find the best solution for those queries and for those requirements.
So I think if there are any more questions, please feel to raise them up now. Okay, so we have a question from Susan. She's a new business owner dealing with robotics and smart solutions. I had my suppliers here in Dubai. I have an E-trade license from DED Dubai. How will I get help from Sharjah if I can change my license to Sharjah? Mohammed, maybe you want to take that question, please? Yeah.
Yes, if it is an onshore company, DED trade license, you can, if you want to expand, you can just open a branch of your Dubai company. Unless you want to open a new company, you will have to go through the process from A to Z, establishing a new company, whether it's an onshore or one of our free zones. But if you are willing, and I think this is the best option for you currently, if it's a DED company, is to apply for a branch. It is easier. And through Saeed Center, we can finalize it in one day. I've sent my email. Please send me an email with your contact details, and then I will ask someone from Saeed team to get in touch with you. You're welcome.
Susan, good luck with your new business. Right? You know, it's never easy, but you know, trust me in this one. Right? You know what you picked up out of Sharjah. So it's a good place to start to expand also. Right? Are there any more questions from the panelists?
I also sent the link for Sharjah Media City, shams.ae. Through that, any query that might be in somebody's mind wanting to understand more about Shams, about anything that we can work together on, please drop us an email through that website, and one of the team members will be coming back soonest. And thank you very much.
Okay, I think Simit is asking for Mohammed's email address. Yeah, got it. Awesome. All right. So now we have any educational organization, institute from Singapore interested in setting up in Sharjah. We are in this field. Okay, we'll do that, but we'll probably route it through Mohammed to invest in Sharjah as a coordinating body. That's there. We got it here, but we will coordinate through Mohammed's invest in Sharjah. Right. Okay. If there's no other questions there, I'd like to thank everybody, starting with His Excellency Marwan Al-Sakal, Dr. Khalid, Omar, Al-Mitfa, Muhammad Juma. You know, it's been amazing seeing you again after a very long time.
Thank you.
Patrick,
Thank you
for your time invested today, you know, for Singapore Airlines. Like I said, you were fantastic to have one of the best known Singaporean companies to be here, to be participating, you know, in this conference. It just validates, you know, it just validates how Sharjah can play a very strategic and important role for Singaporean companies that wish to either come into the UAE in Sharjah or use Sharjah as a base to expand globally, not only the region, globally, right? Yeah.
Thank you
for your time today. And if you have any queries you have, please feel free to write to us at exco@spcua.org. You also have Muhammad's email address over there, right? No? And everybody stay safe, and we look forward to catching up again soon, right?
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks a lot. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you, Singh. Thanks.